Here's your news for February 26th. A blind father of two was found dead in Buffalo, New York after he was dropped off at a Tim Hortons restaurant by Border Patrol officials. Okay, so here is how this story goes. This man, his name is Nuril Amin Shah Alam. He is a refugee from Burma. He is arrested in Erie County for trespassing and having a weapon. Now, the weapon was a curtain rod that he was using as a walking stick. So he gets arrested, they reach a plea deal, he's released. Now, the Erie County Sheriff's Office, after he was being held at the detention center, they then issued a immigration detainer on him, placed an immigration detainer on him, and contacted the U.S. Border Patrol prior to his release. So the Border Patrol picks him up and they have him for a little bit, and then they realize, we can't really hold this guy. So here, we'll give you a ride to Tim Hortons. So they drop him off at Tim Hortons, nowhere near his home. He goes to go in Tim Hortons. The door's locked. He can't get in. There's video of him just wandering away. So apparently he wandered for a couple days until he was found dead on Tuesday. The Erie County Sheriff's Department is investigating with Buffalo police as to what exactly happened because they never notified his family. They just dropped this blind man off where he had no way of getting home. New surveillance video from one of Nancy Guthrie's neighbors captured several cars driving nearby her Tucson, Arizona home the night authorities believe she was kidnapped. Nancy Guthrie is the mother of Today's Show anchor Savannah Guthrie. If you're following this story, you know that it's been one fumble after another by police investigators overall. This footage, which who the hell knows why it took so long to obtain, the footage was obtained by Fox News, and it was recorded on a street-facing Ring camera at a home which was roughly 7 minutes away from Guthrie's 1-acre property. Now, this whole time, they've said, it's so dark out there, there's no footage of cars. Now we have not only footage of cars, but we have footage of a dozen cars driving by between 12:30 a.m. and 6 a.m. on February 1st, which was the day Guthrie was reported missing. And in those hours, that's the window of which they believe she was taken from her bed. It's not clear if any of the vehicles that drove past the house were going to Guthrie's, but worth looking into. Investigators also say that they have over 1,000 hours of video in this Nancy Guthrie investigation to go through. And although they have tools to enhance the video, they say that it has to be watched in real time. And let me just tell you one other thing that happened with this case. Now, people are bringing flowers. They want to listen. They want to drop. Some people want to drop off things because they want to be nice. Other people are looky-loos and they just want to see what's going on. They're curious about the crime scene. Well, one lady decided that this was Star Search, and she showed up to the house and just had a karaoke machine and just started singing. Stop it. Just stop it. Instagram will begin notifying parents when their teenagers repeatedly attempt to search for suicide or self-harm content. The new feature will alert parents enrolled in the parental supervision tool to repeated searches in a short period of time and offer expert resources about how to talk to teens about this issue. The function will start to roll out in the coming weeks in Australia, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States, with more countries to come later this year. This move comes as Instagram's parent company, Meta, and other social media platforms are facing ongoing scrutiny over the safety of their products, particularly for young people. Instagram already blocks content related to suicide or self-harm from reaching teen accounts. However, there are a bunch of families, I've seen a bunch of these stories where families say that their child was uh, sextorted. They were involved in a sextortion scam where people claim to have pictures or things of them and threaten to release it. And then these kids end up dying by suicide. Another side angle of this story is that a lawsuit is taking place right now. They're in court in Los Angeles. A 20-year-old is suing YouTube and Instagram, saying that those social media sites fueled her depression and anxiety and led her to withdraw from her family. So that's going on right now. I know people say, oh, you have to be in charge of how much your kids look at this or that. But listen, I mean, if you are someone who has a smartphone, there are times when I am looking at my smartphone and I'll put it down and then I'm picking it up and I put it down, pick it up. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Why do I? It is, and there is something about it. There is an addiction to it that you just, it just becomes something you just constantly have to have and look at. And you think about back to the days now when my oldest son is 26, and I think, when I would take him to the doctor's office or I would be waiting here for him or there for him, I didn't have a smartphone. Actually, I think maybe the first couple of years, I don't even know if I had a phone. And what did we do? We weren't constantly scrolling. And I think there was a new study that found that scrolling those quick videos is really bad for not only your brain, but your heart. So we'll see how that turns out. Netflix has pulled out of a $72 billion Warner Brothers deal. Well, that's because Paramount offered more money. Paramount is offering $111 billion for Warner Brothers. This ends this bidding war that had been going on. Netflix, back at least in December, Netflix was the clear favorite to take over Warner Brothers. And the whole idea of this was, oh my gosh, is this going to change how we watch movies? Are there going to be movie theaters? Well, Paramount's likely win could still mean that we could have some higher streaming bills for some Americans, because fewer media giants are going to control more of Hollywood's biggest franchises. I have an update from that story I told you about yesterday, the North Carolina mother who's at the center of the 24-year-old missing persons case. So if you remember, she was 38 years old. She had children, whole family in North Carolina. She says, hey guys, I'm going Christmas shopping at Kmart. Now, who didn't love Kmart and the blue light special? I actually just remember wanting to go to Kmart because they had ices and popcorn for super cheap. And sometimes if I went with my mom, we would get an icy or a popcorn. But anyway, so she said she was going shopping at Kmart and she left and she never came back. Well, she has now been arrested for failing to appear in court from a charge that stemmed back from a driving while intoxicated in November of 2001. Now, remember, she disappeared in December of 2001. Was that part of the reason she hauled ass and got out of there? No idea. But I could never understand how this woman could just abandon her children and imagine just what they went through for so many years trying to look for her. But I did see an article where it said her daughter already forgives her. I don't know. I think it would take a little bit for me to forgive you. And finally, an upstate New York mom couldn't believe her eyes when she gave birth to a record-breaking baby boy, a supersized bundle of joy. I love that phrase. Nearly twice the size of an average newborn. The parents, Tricia and Sean, baby's born, Sean Jr. at Cayuga Medical Center, January 31st, which is my son's birthday, weighing a whopping 13 pounds. He is already wearing 3 to 6 month diapers and clothes. I just wonder how they're shocked by this, though, because nowadays with ultrasounds, I feel like they do that little measuring thing where they clickety-click from side to side and they can tell you how big the baby's going to be. Anyway, the heaviest baby on record weighed 22 pounds, was born in Italy in 1955, according to the Guinness World Records. Well, that is the news for today.